On this episode, we share our favorite magical dining atmospheres. Today is October 13th, 2023, and this is episode 608 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and I am joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey, guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. If you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. And if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, you get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. We are talking about dining again because our listeners seem to love the episodes about dining. And if you did not get those advanced dining reservations, which will also include special events like fireworks packages, the upcoming candlelight processional, don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. So today we're talking about, and honestly, we didn't know how to label this episode.
Yeah.
Because we're talking kind of most magical atmospheres for dining, but I think this could be most magical theming. It could be most magical immersion. Like what experiences would actually be a really good one. Maybe we change the name of it and it's most magical experiences
for dining.
You know, what makes a magical atmosphere theming experience, like as far as dining goes for you, whether it's from honestly, snacks all the way up to, signature fine dining restaurants and everything in between. What do you think of?
I definitely think of good food. I definitely think of theming, and immersion. Something like Akershus, and that's not on here, so I'm just going to give an example where you get to go and, in there and you look around and they have all these neat things and then the princesses come around and all that, and the food was really good. So, something like that, I guess, to me is very like what my magical experience, I think, would be.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think for me, and again, this will be living where we live, I guess, in the most part, can I get this at home? You know what I mean? Like, there are going to be certain dining establishments. And what we did is we broke this down. We're going through the parks, we're going through the resorts, and we're going to go through Disney Springs, and we're going to pick 3 in each.
Yeah.
So there's certainly things that aren't going to fall onto the list that are still very magical or immersive or whatever. But,
100%.
I think of something like, just for example, I'll throw it out there, a 9 Dragons over at Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderfully themed.
Yep.
Fits beautifully over there in the China Pavilion. I can get all of that at home.
Okay.
I can get the food. I can get the atmosphere for the most part. I can get those things at home. Sebastian's Bistro, one of the most underrated restaurants on property and one of the best values. We don't live far from the beach. We can go get that here, I feel like. And again, not exactly down to the food.
Counts for you
is what I can't get. That's why, Sebastian's Bistro is beautifully themed, wonderful food, great value, very, very magical. But I feel like I can get that at home if I need to. What can I not experience at home?
Okay.
And to me, that's kind of where my thoughts come from for this. So let's start in Magic Kingdom. And I don't care where you live. This is going to be tough to say that you can get it at home. And that's Cinderella's Royal Table.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from the moment, you check in, I feel like at that big guest area where they're like looking, like I feel like through her book or something. Like it's just super cool and it's just great. And then you go upstairs and you see Cinderella and all the princesses.
Yeah, all the princesses are back
right?
now. We're back
it's
to
just and you can wear obviously anything you want. Yes, you can be in Magic Kingdom having a tank top and shorts on because it is a hot Florida day and you can sit down and go eat. But I tell you, I felt underdressed when I went for the first time and we had the young kids.
Yeah.
And I had a t-shirt and shorts on, my hair pulled up, and tennis shoes on. And I was super excited when Jeremy and I Disney bounded and went back as Ariel and Eric, and I had a dress on. I felt like a princess. It was amazing.
That's actually a great point that you bring up is a place that makes you want to maybe dress up a little. That makes you,
yes,
and yes, if this is, the middle of your day or end of your day or even the beginning and you're the type, you're not going to go back to your resort or, you're going to rope drop until the park closes, you're going to wear your park attire and that's going to be perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
But if you can plan this, even, whether you have kids, whether you don't, whether it's, friends, whatever it is, I think it's a good one. You say, we're going to do it for breakfast and we're going to dress up a little bit. And then we're going to go back to the resort, get in our park gear and come back. Or we're going to wear our park gear and rope drop. We're going to enjoy the day. Then we're going to go back to the resort, have a little chill time, get dressed up a little bit and come back for like a dinner. It just elevates the experience.
I feel
even
like
more.
it did. Yeah.
And as you said, from check-in to the moment you get your bill, you're fully immersed in eating inside of Cinderella Castle.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really,
so cool.
We decided not to rank these. Like we thought we could have broken it down to like a top 10, but I think it almost limits it too much. But I think this would be hard to beat as number one.
I completely 100% agree.
I think our next one at Magic Kingdom also could easily fall in the top 3 to 5.
I like this one, and we're talking about Be Our Guest, because I think it falls a little bit lower on me because Cinderella is so, what is the word?
Iconic?
Well, no, like, Be Our Guest. I love Be Our Guest, but it's very open, and you're eating with a whole bunch of people. Where I feel like Cinderella is a little more intimate.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I felt like when I first started with Be Our Guest, it was very cafeteria like,
and it was. No, we have not been back with the with the prefix meals.
Correct.
And the we've gone back to where it was. Breakfast and lunch,
right.
And you ordered at the register as you walked in, and they brought your food out on a cart and all.
And then still with the stuff on the side where you can go get your Cokes and like that's not at Cinderella's Royal Table.
No.
Again, don't get me wrong. I love Be Our Guest. I love how you can go in each different room. I do love sitting in the Beast room actually because it is a little more intimate. It is darker. I know we need to go back and sit down for the dinner.
Well, even lunch now. We need to. We need to get back in general. For me,
but it's so fun.
For me, the one area I think Be Our Guest beats out Cinderella's Royal Table a little bit, and we're gonna do our Disney prep series soon on what to watch before your trip. On the Disney movies, you should really watch if you haven't seen them, or you need to rewatch them because it's been a while. That will really connect you to rides, attractions, shows, restaurants, meet and greets, things like that. You can walk into Cinderella's Royal Table and you've never seen the movie, any of the movies, animated, live actions, anything. And it feels very magical and you're going to really enjoy it. But I don't think you're missing anything. Mm-hmm. As opposed to Be Our Guest, if you walked into Be Our Guest completely blind, you're not going to understand why there's a ballroom and a West Wing and there's a library area. Yeah. So I think the connection to the movies in like Disney lore is so much stronger here. Yeah. When you can walk in and see the rose.
Yeah, that's true.
It's absolutely incredible.
That is.
And we'll probably throw out some other things as we go through this. Enchanted Rose, same thing. Yeah. It's not going to make our list when we get to resorts, not because it's not deserving. It just isn't going to beat the ones I think that we have, but correct. And it's much more of a bar lounge, but
right.
Enchanted Rose, you watch before you go, and I'll spoiler alert for our Disney prep series, I guess. Maybe this is prepping us for our Disney prep series because we still got to work on those notes.
See what you did there.
Animated, live action Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yeah.
You visit Be Our Guest and you visit Enchanted Rose.
Yeah.
And you are completely connected to those movies and those stories and everything. And you go, I recognize that, and that. Mm-hmm. All right. Magic Kingdom's hurting a little bit, I think, as far as these go. And another thing that we've talked about recently, any place that we have not dined or experienced won't make this list.
Correct.
It would be pretty much impossible to make this list and not include Victoria and Albert's when we get to resorts.
Yeah.
But because we have not dined there, we choose not to put those types of things on our list.
Correct.
But we're more than open to say, yeah, that's going to
Right.
be a magical experience.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Magic Kingdom has these two like knock out of the park.
Oh, they're some of the best
places.
on property.
So, I mean, this third one I think is for us more because I feel like of the food and how good it is that we
But I can't
really
get this
had
at
good.
home.
And you can't get it at home. And what are we talking about?
Skipper Canteen, of course. So, for me, this makes a list because, first of all, it's an extension of one of my favorite attractions
Mhm.
in Coming in Jungle Cruise.
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, your cast member servers and all of that are going to play into the Jungle Cruise and the puns and the
Yes.
jokes and things. Sometimes it just doesn't occur. And sometimes that's
I
depending on how
think-
busy it is.
Yeah, and I also think it depends on possibly a cast member and
Oh,
if they
100%.
just maybe have an off day.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest, we're all human. We have all had bad
Sure.
days. So
Yeah.
I think like Jeremy said, most of the time, every time we've sat down, but there was one time that
It was
just-
non-existent.
It was
And-
very strange.
Yeah, and that's fine because this hits on all the other levels. Again, from the theming in the different rooms,
That's
the
cool.
the
Mhm.
tiebacks to like the Adventurers Club and SEA, the just everything throughout down to the food,
Mhm.
which fits Jungle Cruise so well. I just think that this is something you can't get anywhere else, and that's a reason that it kind of rounds out our list. Liberty Tree and Diamond Horseshoe and
Unfortunately,
the
we haven't
plaza.
eaten there.
Yeah, I mean, again, even Tony's Town Square, which we don't
Maybe-
hate like a lot of
right.
people do. Wonderfully themed, but almost every town or city is going to have that mom and pop Italian spot that's going to look just like this. Now,
Or
it's not
Olive
going to
Garden.
be, or Olive Garden, honestly. I mean, you're not joking there.
I
So,
know, but you
know,
can see it in Magic Kingdom.
you can, and that makes all the difference. And you
Yep.
got Lady and the Tramp and things like that. All right, we're going to move on over to Epcot. And let's start with one of our favorite places. One of our favorite dishes is going and actually sitting down at Tutto Gusto
Mm-hmm.
in the World Showcase.
Yes.
And, Tutorial Forno, Tutto Italia.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these other places, again, much like Tony's Town Square, are wonderfully themed, wonderfully mom and pop Italian. Tutto Gusto, though, to me, just puts you right in the middle of like a basement in Italy. You're sitting on a couch
I agree.
with a fireplace.
Yep.
Like you're in a wine cellar. It isn't something that downtown St. Augustine, to be honest, I know it's not Italian. It's Menorcan and Spanish influence and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You can find places that are very similar to this in downtown St. Augustine.
Yeah, absolutely. But I love that they finally put the cast members that are literally from Italy and everything back.
it's so nice to
Marco
have them
is
all back. Yep.
It's just so neat, and to hear them talk, it's just I love it. So you're completely, in my opinion, immersed, and I should take pictures the next time. And Jen, now she's going to Italy here in a few days, and this is her 4th time.
Oh, wow.
And I just want to be like, is this something that you, and I'd just die if she was like, oh yeah, that's totally.
I mean, it's, we've said this before. It's one of those things, having not been to Italy, but, you see things in movies, you see pictures, you watch things
Right.
on TV. This makes me feel like I'm there without ever having been there.
Yeah. It's super cool.
Next up is a place I really like now. And again, if you're talking about immersion, magical, something that we personally can't get anywhere near us, Beer Garden, really from an atmosphere standpoint, is absolutely incredible. You are transported outside to a little German town,
Yeah.
even though you're inside.
Yeah. It's super cool.
And, with the stage show going on and dancing and music, again, down to the wait staff and the cast members, to your big beers.
The
to
food
the
is
food.
good.
This is something that is hard to find in a lot of other places. And
I've told
I
you
love it because of
before
that.
I think it was Amanda and Robin. I think Robin's originally from Germany or something, that she said, oh, it's so legit.
Very
And I was
authentic.
like, That's so cool.
And that's another thing
I
you could
love
add to the
that.
list is we're saying, what makes it magical or what makes it unique is another word. I mean, we could literally title this episode 20 different things. And I
Oh,
think they'd all
yeah.
be fitting.
Yeah.
Is the authenticity.
Yeah.
Is it authentic?
Yep.
And to hear that something like this
And Jossie's
is
totally
very,
told us too.
it's
as
very
well.
authentic.
Mhm.
Oh, I forget where it was. It's in, I think it was somewhere in South Carolina, like an hour and a half from Charlotte. It popped up on TikTok. Is a little German town, like
Oh,
recreated
really?
German town
Hmm.
with food and drink and the building, like everything. Like
Yeah.
you were taking, the Germany World Showcase Pavilion and blowing it up to an entire town. I'll have to go see if I can find it. I meant to send it to Jossie, and I don't think I did. Okay, let's move on to our next one. And if you have this in a town or city near you, then I want to come visit you because I can't imagine anything else really like this. What are we talking about?
Space 220. And I think we're ending with this one because it's the best one.
Mhm.
Like it really is. Like Tutto Gusto is like memories for us and special for us for that. But Space 220, like again, it's like Space 220 is Epcot Cinderella's Royal Table.
Yeah, I would
from
agree.
the very beginning of going up to space and checking in, and then you get a ticket to go up, and then you board the spaceship and you go, and then you get to space and you go and you get to sit down, and whether you sit anywhere in there, the bar, the lounge, the tables, it is all amazing experience. The food is fantastic. The drinks are amazing. I wish it was a little easier just to be like, can I go to the bar and get a espresso martini, because I think that is possibly my favorite one on property. Space 220 is just amazing.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. We've been there several times and done everything from the prefix meal to the lounge to sitting at the bar, and we've always had wonderful experiences with the food. I think it's one that for whatever reason is hit or miss a lot of times with folks, but I just don't see how you can say the atmosphere is hit or miss. I think a lot of people go up and they expect a lot more to be going on outside in space. But I think just being there, right? I think just being there is incredible. And there are little different nods to things like the lightsabers, and you see astronauts and,
But I mean, it's space. It's slow. Like you can't have a lot going on.
Agreed.
So.
And from the moment you check in, like you said, all the way to taking the shuttle up 220 miles up into space and all, it's just unbelievable.
Yep.
And I think possibly the most unique and well-crafted cocktails on property.
Yeah.
And what's great is that they are crafting them in front of you. We'll talk about another place in a little bit that I think has extremely unique cocktails, but they're not making them from scratch in front of you. They're all batched. And I think, that can take things down a notch, but Space 220 is just an experience.
Yeah.
If you can get it, whether you walk up, you get there 45 minutes before it opens. Which I believe it opens at 11. So you'd want to get there at 10:15. You can try and do walk up to the lounge. Something, we always try to do new to us places or experiences every single time we go. This is one of those where, there's a lot of times all of a sudden we show up at Epcot and we're like, you know what? Maybe it's a repeat day.
Space 220 got something.
Let's go up there. Let's drink what we've drank. Let's eat what we've ate before, and let's just enjoy it because we absolutely love that place so very much. All right, let's move on to Hollywood Studios, and we'll talk about that very place. We're gonna actually lump together kind of Galaxy's Edge and Batuu by talking about both Oga's Cantina and Docking Bay 7. Now, Oga's Cantina is not a dining experience. They have very limited the Batuu bits, and a few things like that. This is where I was talking about the batch drinks.
Yes,
I think this place. I mean, here's the thing. They don't need to handcraft cocktails there. For one, they have a time limit for people there.
Yes.
You can't take that time away. For two, they're so dang busy, I can't imagine putting the pressure on those cast members to handcraft every single drink that comes through.
That would be sad.
And the drinks are still really good.
Yeah, they are.
They're outstanding.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere is unbelievable.
Fun atmosphere. Fun, enjoyable time. You could be sitting with somebody that you don't know. That is fun. It's fun to talk to.
Can be part of what makes it magical.
Yep.
is meeting new friends.
Yep. Or you're standing at the same place, I guess, high, because what would that be called?
I mean, they're high tops, but you're standing at them.
Yeah.
What was the deal with T-Mobile today for them to kneel at the
I thought he was sitting.
No, he was kneeling.
Yeah,
they had the pads, the rubber pads. We went to upgrade our phones and all today. And super, I mean, the guy was incredible.
Yeah, he was.
Wonderful, wonderful service. They had two people working there. Now, the guy next to us, he was kneeling when he started with the other gentleman, and then he ended up standing up halfway through. It was just super straight. And they had the pads underneath them to help protect their knees and all, thankfully. But watching both of them do it seemed like it was something trained.
I have no idea.
I just found it interesting. I understand not wanting your employees maybe to sit during it.
Why not?
But plenty. Well, because we didn't have chairs provided. If there had been chairs on both sides of the table, I think it makes more sense. But I don't think you want a customer coming in who's being forced to stand for an hour while you're going through all the rigmarole that it is to up. I remember you used to walk in and go, "Hey, I've got an old phone. I would like a new one." And they're like, "Cool. See you later. Here's your phone." That was it.
It's not
now,
okay.
It is like such a process, and there's so much math involved, and there's so many like promotions. They're just
but
like,
then there's some
they're like, "Oh, you have 4 phones? Well, then you're eligible for this promotion." "Oh, you have 5 phones? Well, then we can't do anything for you." "Oh, this phone is red? Yeah, sorry, you don't qualify for this promotion, but you do qualify for this promotion." It was the most confusing thing ever. Where we just want to be, and that's why he was so good. We're just like, tell us what we would owe you today, and we will give you that money. And then you tell us what we will owe you every month, and we will also give you that money. We just stop holding our phones hostage. We just want them. Like, we want to give you money. You give us a product and a service back. That's how this works as easily as possible. But that is not the way that it works. And I guarantee that if we didn't already have T-Mobile and we walked in with AT&T, they would have just been like, "Quick, just take these phones for free. Just get out of here. You don't even have to pay us money. We love you. Let's give you everything because you're a brand new customer." Because that's the way the world works.
Oh, with AT&T,
but that's how everything works.
Yeah.
I can call right now. It's such an off tangent of customer service and stuff. But I could say right now, all right, we have AT&T for our internet, and I pay $100 a month. It's great service. AT&T can run a deal that says, you know what, for the first year, it's $25 a month. And I can go, "Hey, I would like it for $25 a month." And they're like, "Nope, you're already a paying customer. We already have your money."
But you could move to T-Mobile
but I could move somewhere else, and then they're going to give it to me. So it's all just a game. But we were talking about Docking Bay 7 next.
We were.
Docking Bay 7 does such an incredible job of immersing you in the Star Wars canon and universe, even though it's not putting you directly in any of the movies.
And I love that it's actually a quick service.
Yes.
Like, walking in is really cool. I'll never forget.
No, we have another quick service that makes the list later. But
okay. Yeah. Walking in, and like the fake food is out that you can see, and it just and looking all around. I mean, it was just incredible. And then going up, and even the experience for this quick service was our first very good experience. I think another time we had it, and it was a little more crazier, unfortunately. But
yeah, it's a menu that they dumbed down a little bit as it progressed, but it's still. This is one of those table service experiences in a quick service atmosphere. If this was a sit-down restaurant and they were serving you for the most part the same food, it would feel like a table service, and if they actually had, waiters and waitresses and whatever coming up to you. And it's so well done. When you're going to a quick service and you're getting real plates and you're getting, heck, we've got the spork that we bought, that unfortunately used to be able to just get there, and then people started stealing them. So they started charging you for those ones. But I would like to take it back sometime
and use it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we need to go back there sometime.
Yeah.
It's just, this is what's so crazy when we talk dining. And I think this is why people love the dining episodes so much, because there is so much.
Mm-hmm. And it's changed. It seems like it's always changing.
It's ever changing. Mm-hmm. Just this week we had tons of updates throughout Animal Kingdom with new menu items. We got all new items at Three Bridges. We got all new items at Geyser Point. We got all new items at Banana Cabana. Like, they are constantly evolving. One of the things that we looked at doing was to go kind of like we did recently with the best breakfast on property, where we wanted to share one of our favorite dishes from those places. Well, a lot of those dishes aren't there anymore, which
Yeah.
is a blessing and a curse, because we can recommend a dish and somebody might go a year from now and it's gone.
Right.
But they are constantly evolving, and that's what makes us want to keep going back. So like Docking Bay 7 is another one where we need to revisit.
Mm-hmm.
Like we need to find a time to go, even if we just make a specific weekend and go, we're going to go revisit X number of places, a breakfast, lunch, and dinner over the course of a weekend that we haven't done within 2 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead and go do that, and then see if it still lives up to the hype that we remember from maybe way back then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next we're going to move on to one of Disney's newest restaurants, and certainly one of the most unique.
Yeah.
Where are we headed to next? Inside Hollywood
Rodeo
Studios.
Roundup. That in Andy's backyard.
Roundup Rodeo.
Yeah, I read that backwards.
Yes.
Yeah, in Andy's backyard. It's super fun. My favorite. It was so going in again and looking around. It's all amazing. But my favorite is when literally Sarge over the loudspeakers like, "Here comes Andy," and we have to freeze.
Yeah.
And like to look around, like literally, because it's neat because it's very like a backyard barbecue type thing where you're very close with other people, which is fine, but your eyes can just move around and see, and it is the coolest thing.
Yeah, there's so much to take in.
So much.
And from check-in, where
Yeah.
they're giving kids and adults, if they want them, the little hobby horses to kind of ride around while you're waiting for your table to be called. There's photo opportunities out there. The cast members, the way that they speak to you is very, toy-like and rodeo style. They used to have the giant pencils to sign your check with.
Mm-hmm.
Had to get rid of those because somehow people were taking them.
I don't know how.
If you we will not put you on air. We will not name you. If you have taken a pencil from Roundup Rodeo, will you message us? Because I want to know how you got it out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
It was like 3 feet tall. I find that fascinating. That's one of the things. You can't have nice things, right?
I would assume people had strollers and they just stuck them in there.
Stuck them under there.
Yep.
Still, I feel like that thing would just be sticking right out of there.
Mm.
But Roundup Rodeo is so unique. Again,
Yeah.
if you got a place like this near you, I mean, you
And the food's
you have a 3-year-old
really good,
child
I
that
thought.
created it in your house.
Yeah.
We loved the food.
Yep.
This is yet another one that I think is hit or miss. Your reviews are 50-50. We had a wonderful experience the day that we
did.
went, and it was the second day of opening, which would be easy for someone to say, well, they were at the top of their game. They just opened. That's not always true, as we've seen from the festivals at Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes opening days and opening weeks are not at top of their game. They're still
Correct.
trying to figure things out.
Correct. And they're
And-
trying to get those
Yeah.
reviews basically and hearing and,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
So we absolutely loved it. Next in Hollywood Studios, we're going to do another kind of batch 2 together. And you guys just have to accept that fact. Which ones are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about sci-fi, and then Jeremy was like, well, let's put 50s primetime with that too, because they're both just really cool. I love sci-fi. Again, we haven't been there in a really long time.
They just introduced a whole bunch of new menu
they
items,
did.
salads and
Well,
burgers and all. So
we
it's
need to
time to
go.
look at getting back.
But I love the fact that you go in and being so immersed where you're literally at a drive-in, and some places you might get to sit in a actual car,
Mhm.
and it's very dark though to eat. And then of course the drive-in movies, the sci-fi, what's playing is very old school. But it was just so fun, and I really like that. And of course, 50s primetime is really great because you're immersed in the 50s and you're sitting like almost like in your mom's kitchen, and just the way they treat you too. Like if your elbows are on,
Mhm.
like get them off, and their food is fantastic too. We've eaten there now a couple of times, and we've enjoyed the healthy food. And then we went ahead and got the big old fried chicken
Oh,
platter.
that fried chicken was delicious.
Oh, it was so good. And I would say either one of those, I would probably say like those batched together would probably be like Hollywood Studios actual like Cinderella's royal table, just because you're so immersed in it.
When they're so fitting from, way back in MGM Studios days to Hollywood Studio, like they still retain the original notion and thought of what this park was.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed a lot over the years, but this still holds true to the original MGM Studios feel.
Yes.
Especially at sci-fi. Talk about going into sci-fi. I mean, it's one of those, if somebody could just transport you into sci-fi and then be like, where do you think you are? You'd be hard pressed to be like, I'm inside of a theme park. It's incredible. I just, that's one of those types of things where, if Disney ever expanded their parks in a way that wasn't expanding actual theme parks, it was expanding restaurants or experiences, I could see this. Like, imagine Disney's Sci-Fi Drive-In now opening in Charlotte. I mean, seriously. Or see what they do with the Star Cruiser. But I do believe that was a platform to say, is this a concept that could work in other places without being within a theme park? Can we take a Star Cruiser and put it in a major city and have it work as an experience, a place for you to visit? That type of thing. And I think they could do that with some of these restaurants. I mean, if you could go into whatever, Jacksonville, or just even, it was in Orlando outside of theme parks, and go, I'm going to go to a 50s. And I know there's things like this, a lot, there's, especially like New York, there's diners and things like that.
Right.
The one where I want to say cast members, but the employees sing, like the servers and all will stop and sing in the middle of it and all. There are places like that, but I think it'd be a neat concept to say, you're visiting a place like Charlotte, you're going to Chicago, you're going to LA, whatever. And literally there's a place that is Disney's Sci-Fi Dine-In, Disney's 50s Primetime Cafe, Disney's Roundup Rodeo.
Right.
And you could actually experience these things individually as just a restaurant in other areas. Would be just super cool. All right, we're going to move on to our last park, which will be Animal Kingdom. Our Animal Kingdom's got a lot of wonderful dining. We just did Nomad Lounge last weekend. Tiffin's, they're all beautifully themed, very well done, especially the way they fit within Animal Kingdom. But another one that's just an overall kind of immersive experience, from decor, theming to food, I think is Yak and Yeti.
Yeah.
And the way that it fits inside Asia is just so well done.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really cool too, because it's just right by that big old tree where you can get a picture. Mm-hmm. They have the Yak and Yeti like quick service.
Yeah, we got our local foods cafe, so you can get a little taste of things over there.
Super cool.
They need a little
going inside,
ahi tuna nacho.
Yeah.
Over there.
Oh, we'd get that every single time.
Every single time.
Yeah. But going inside and sitting and everything, whether you sit upstairs, whether you sit downstairs, and everything, like you said, it's just super cool. Like all the decor and all that. Love it.
The feel of it in the theming and the expansive menu. If you go to an Asian restaurant near where you live, it's just not going to be the same as this. It's going to be unique and special in its own way, but it's just not what you're getting here. It's so large, where you're sitting downstairs, upstairs, you're sitting at the bar. There's so much you could walk around and see here based on all of the decor and the theming and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
One that I think is hard to beat, and our lovely breakfast aside, this is one where I don't think you focus on the food, even though we had a great experience with breakfast and we want to go back for a lunch or dinner. You can't say that Rainforest Cafe, and I know that this is a concept that is all over the place.
It is.
There's nothing like it. You're going, especially for kids. I mean, you're going into a rainforest with animatronics and aquariums, and there's nothing like it. Even the shop,
right? But
the Explorer Party,
yeah.
Like,
but I think what's cool too is and like we do this so much. Could you imagine being up somewhere else and there's a rainforest and going?
They had one at the Towson Town Mall,
right? But doing it and then being like, where am I? Am I in Towson or am I in?
That was the
Orlando?
only bad thing about that one up there, is that when you were done, you walked out and you weren't in Disney World.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason this concept of moving them other places would not work.
Correct.
Is because you leave the sci-fi in Charlotte and you're like, wait, that's it? I want to go ride a ride. I want to go. But Rainforest Cafe is hard to beat. I actually love it. And it's breakfast was so good. We want to make it there for a lunch or a dinner. I think that'd be a good one, the way we did T-Rex, even though the food experience wasn't great when we did T-Rex recently at the bar. Go to Rainforest at the bar, but maybe just go ahead and order meals and not focus on the appetizer trio of, or not even trio. That was like a quintuplet. Is that 5? It was a lot of different appetizers.
Yeah.
And I think that was the issue with it was, don't try and do, you're going to do 5 things not great as opposed to doing one thing really, really well.
Right.
So their focus is not on making 5 incredible appetizers for one giant dish, I think was the problem. All right. Finally, another quick service makes it. We're heading to the mess hall over in Avatar at Satuli Canteen. Again, everything from the moment you walk in.
This is the quick service, but I do think this is really cool again because you are in the
mess hall. It's an old,
well,
it's their
but
old mess hall.
You walk into the Avatar area, and you already smells and the sounds, and then you go and you go into the mess hall, and
they're cooking the food right in front of you as you walk in. They're cooking the beef, they're
cool.
cooking the chicken over open flames. Much like, we could add Ronto Roasters back to our Docking Bay 7 and Oga's Cantina in Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
It looks like that robot or that droid, I should say, is, roasting the meats for the Ronto wraps.
Super cool.
Over the engine.
Yep.
And all. But here you're actually seeing it.
Yep.
You've got real plates. You've got real silverware.
Mm-hmm.
It's such, and the food's outstanding.
Yeah.
Everything about this place is great. So, it is extremely magical in the way that it fits within a land, and it fits within Pandora like a lot of other, quick services don't necessarily fit that well. Now, Docking Bay 7 does.
Right.
Fits very well inside Galaxy's Edge.
Right.
Go over to somewhere like, just trying to think real quick. Okay, let's go over to Fantasyland and Pinocchio's Village House.
Yeah, I was thinking of those places.
But it's not like, wow.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
Now, to be fair, Fantasyland is comprised of several different lands because it's based out of several different movies and where those movies take place in. So that makes it a little bit harder to make it one whole collective piece. Whereas Pandora, Galaxy's Edge, they were built as an entire land with one theming, one movie or set of movies in mind. And that's why I think they work so very well.
Yeah.
All right, we got 2 categories left, and we are moving on over to Disney, which is a tough one.
There's
let's just start with Rainforest is also at Disney Springs, so it obviously would make the list. But let's go ahead and just put T-Rex on the list. T-Rex Cafe, for all the same reasons we said Rainforest.
Okay.
It's immersive. It's fun. It's got a great gift shop. It's great for kids. You can get Rainforest and I don't know if T-Rexes are other places. The way that Rainforest is. I know they're owned by the same company and all. They're all Landry's. But there may be other T-Rex cafes. So maybe it is something you can get near you, but I don't think it makes it any less, immersive and magical, I guess I would say. So we don't really have to spend that much time on it, but
and
it's a cool spot.
And when you're, Disney Springs does seem to be a lot for more adults when you're shopping and stuff and drinks and food. This is kind of fun for the kids and enjoyable.
And think of it this way, with everything at Disney Springs, what other places do you walk by and you go, whoa, what is that?
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
You're going to walk by and there's the giant skeleton of the dinosaur out front. And you're going to go, wait, what is this place?
And Rainforest actually has
a working volcano.
That blows smoke and fire.
Nowhere else for the most part are you just going to walk by and be like, whoa. Because they don't fit.
Yeah.
In a way. They're kind of just plopped right in the middle of Disney Springs. What's another one that we have here?
Well, we love Morimoto Asia, and I love that it's right by Gideon's too.
That always helps.
But yeah, the food is so fantastic. Being inside is so cool.
Beautiful in there.
You almost kind of forget that you're at Disney Springs, which I think is really cool.
When you're inside of Morimoto, you do feel like you're downtown in a major metro city somewhere.
Yeah.
And I know you can go to other Morimoto restaurants, so you can't hear where we are. So one of the reasons maybe it makes our list, but it's absolutely gorgeous in there. And to the open kitchen and the ducks hanging in the window, all the way out to being able to enjoy Morimoto street food,
Mm-hmm.
which we love. And those ribs are just so dang good. So
Now I want some ribs.
Yeah. And again, sitting at the bar and getting sushi and having a white
Yep.
lily and, things like that. One of the reasons it makes our list, I think same with the next one and going to the boathouse, which we love very much. I mean,
I think that can be almost the whole experience because of the boat,
mhm.
and you can take your receipt, and I think it's 20% off. I think
Yeah, it
it's
might
a
not even be
percentage
that
off.
much.
It might not be
Yeah.
that much, but it is
The
enough.
amphibicars is what you're talking about.
Yes, to go and possibly ride one, and it's just so fun. And then being out like on the boathouse or inside, or even out on the outside area and eating. Like, and then just like looking around, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just something about that place to me that is just so fun and enjoyable. And the 2 bars, you can sit at either one.
Mhm. Yeah, you can sit down on the water. You can sit inside. You
Mhm.
can dine in a boat
Mm-hmm.
that they have indoors. Everything from the moment you walk up in the nautical theme down to the raw bar being available right in front of your face and seeing
Mhm.
the fresh seafood sitting on ice to the gift shop. And then, being able to actually go down and sit and eat on the docks and the bar
And
down
then
there.
possibly
Like,
getting in an
yeah, and then doing an
amphibicar.
amphibicar.
I mean,
so
that's
again,
super
from
cool.
beginning to
Yep.
end, it's just so perfectly well done. And we love this place.
Yep.
It's another one of those that next time we're in Disney Springs, let's saddle up to the bar. Let's, get an appetizer or something, or maybe we split that off-menu lobster roll, the hot buttered lobster roll,
Mhm.
and their fries are outstanding. This is one when we talked about last episode about if you're going to dip your toes in truffle.
Oh yeah.
These have the truffle fries here, I believe it is, also over at Enchanted Rose. I think is a better way to try truffle if you've never had it, because it's not as like pungent and heavy in these locations, and it's just absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to close out with resorts, and I got to say, I think if Cinderella's Royal Table is number 1, I think California Grill would be number 2.
Okay.
I
can't
mean,
argue that.
you're in, first of all, the Contemporary, which say what you will about it as a resort, which we don't love,
Mm-hmm.
but there is nothing like being there in one of the original resorts, right
Yep.
there on property overlooking the Magic Kingdom
Mhm.
and the castle.
Yep.
And when you walk out of that elevator, I mean, even going again to a
Well,
private, check-in that is
just
going to
started to say,
take you up
yes,
the elevator. You're not just
yes.
going, hey, let's push a button, let's head to California Grill.
Correct. You go
you know,
check in,
yeah.
they take you, and it's just, that check-in is super cool.
Gives it such an exclusive
Yes.
feel.
Yep.
It's another one that I think is so fun to plan a dinner and get dressed up
Yeah.
and then catch the fireworks afterwards
Mhm.
right outside there.
Yep.
And, it's absolutely magic. When you walk out of that elevator door and you look to the right and you see these sweeping landscapes through these floor-to-ceiling windows, it's just absolutely stunning. And I can't think of somewhere else that I can get this. You can get a lot of beautiful views in cities. They're not looking at a theme park. They're not looking at Cinderella Castle. They're not looking at Tron lit up at night and
Yeah.
the train station and, seeing even Grand Floridian and stuff in the distance. Like, there really is nothing like this. I think this would fall number 2 if we were actually ranking these behind
Okay.
Cinderella's Royal Table easily.
Okay.
Now, very similar. It just doesn't have the views. And I've said before, if Riviera was a Epcot resort, let's just say it's where Beach Club was, right? And you could go sit at Topolino's Terrace and look into Epcot and see the World Showcase in the Eiffel Tower and Spaceship Earth,
Mhm.
and you could actually see into the park. This one goes way, way up the list. But again, those sweeping views,
Yeah.
just
It is cool.
fine dining at its best.
Very pretty up there. Very like California Grill-esque. But it doesn't have that. It's just the food is fantastic and the atmosphere, and I don't feel like I am immersed though, like you do, like California Grill, because you
Sure.
see, but still, this is fantastic.
I mean, I think both of these, as far as the actual setting indoors, is something that you can find at many fine restaurants throughout the world, throughout the country, throughout the world.
Yeah.
it's going beyond that interior dining room that
Mhm.
takes these to just a whole nother level with those views. Because again, there's nothing like sitting when the sun is setting
Yeah, that's true.
and looking out from Topolino's and watching the Skyliner go by Caribbean Beach and seeing the reflection in the water down below. It's beautiful. And you can go out there on that terrace at the, end of the evening, and you can see the fireworks going off from Epcot. We've sat at the bar. The service is magical every single time. Alfred there is unbelievable.
Drinks
Mike,
are amazing.
who's been there the whole time since it opened. Yeah, drinks are fantastic. Food is absolutely incredible. And it's another fun one to just get dressed up and go enjoy. And the breakfast is so well done.
Oh, yeah.
Especially down to the outfits and everything that they're wearing as the characters come out and greet you.
And I would probably trade and say Topolino's Terrace, but for breakfast because of the characters and everything else like that. Yes, dinner, don't get me wrong, is phenomenal. But if you're talking experience and all that, I would totally do the breakfast.
Yeah, I agree with that. We've got one more on our list, and much like we're not talking Enchanted Rose, we're really going for what's more considered dining establishment. I mean, to be honest, number one on this entire list that would even beat Cinderella's Royal Table is probably Trader Sam's. I mean, Trader Sam's is absolute. You can eat there. There's food there, but it's not. But it's not.
Food?
It's not. Yes, there is food, but it's not your standard dining.
Dinner food.
You can get little tacos. I mean, it's much more like eating at Enchanted Rose. Yes, it is not like it is not and that's why we're leaving off the list. I also don't think it's fair to every other place on this list to include Trader Sam's because there truly is nothing like this. I know there's little tiki bars all throughout, again, the country and the world, but again, being in Disney property, being at the Polynesian, it's absolutely unbelievable. But we're going to leave the Polynesian for our last one. We're going to go over to Animal Kingdom Lodge, and we're going to dine at Sanaa.
Yes.
You had a wonderful suggestion of putting this on the list. Why did you choose Sanaa?
Well, because again, I was thinking, and I love the food. First of all, I love the atmosphere and the fact that you can see the animals. I mean, it's so cool, and it's just so immersive and magical to me that I love it. I love it.
This, to me, this experience starts the moment you arrive at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
I agree.
Where
I agree.
You don't get that. You don't, even though they're all themed well, and you've got the French Riviera and you have contemporary, technically your experience could start the moment you arrive, but it doesn't in the way that Animal Kingdom Lodge does.
I agree.
I mean, whether you're staying over at Jumbo House and you're walking over, or you are, Ubering direct to Kidani and you're walking in that beautiful little DVC lobby, that's when this experience starts. And then you go down, you get checked in, and like you said, you have an opportunity to see animals while you dine. The food is so perfectly themed. The service there has always been outstanding.
Oh, yeah.
Now we know Carson there.
Yeah.
And it was
Drinks
so wonderful to see her. Yep. Drinks are great. Just, it is an experience, again, like no other, and one that I know I can't get anywhere near me.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, unless you're looking at restaurants inside of zoos or something, I mean, seriously, where else are you going in the United States to get an experience like this, other than if there are some at a zoo? If you've got a local zoo near you that has dining establishments inside at this caliber,
and an African food, please let us know.
That'd be incredible. I want to visit.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. So, I think this place is phenomenal.
Yes.
And we love Animal Kingdom Lodge just in general, and Sanaa, and I could put, Aboma, Ajiko, they all fall within this realm of the moment you arrive on property there, you start your dining experience. And that's pretty dang cool.
Yeah.
As always, thank you for listening. We would love to hear some of your most magical I don't even know what we're going to call this in the end. Most magical atmospheres, most unique atmospheres, best themed atmospheres, most magical experiences while dining, most unique. I mean, there's a lot of different, all of the above, but let us know some of your favorite places and what makes it magical to you.
Yeah.
And if you can get any of these restaurants outside of probably Rainforest or T-Rex near where you live, we'd love to hear about them.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would be super cool.
Yes.
I'm the type that will see something on TV or somebody will mention it, and I immediately go Google that restaurant and go to their website and look at the photos, and I look at the menus and things like that. If you would like recommendations, because maybe you're coming to the St. Augustine area, of places that we find that are very unique, magical, well-themed here, go ahead and hit us up on social or send us an email, magic@mainstmagic.com. We can give you some recommendations because there's some very cool dining in historic St. Augustine as well. One that comes to the mind is the Conch House. That's something that almost, it's not Trader Sam's-y, obviously, but they have these wonderful little tiki huts out on the water that you can sit and eat at. And it's cool. It's so cool. And the food is all well themed and done, but that's a whole other story. So again, thank you all so much for listening. Truly appreciate it. If you want to follow along live with some of the upcoming trips that we have, you can go ahead and check out our Patreon group and join at wonderlandcrew.com. And you know that we would love if you subscribe so you can get the brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And both Rhonda and I would be super thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.